So far in linear regressions, we're going to do another example in class today. These first two should be done. This was the part most of you guys didn't have this part, which that was the next class. I remember Monday we started just talking about it and putting data in, and then on Wednesday the next class came in and we did this part right here. So, all right, here we go. We're going to try the next one. Practicing linear regressions, correlation and causation. Okay, you need to look back at step one. You got to get regressions. How do we start on step one for regressions? What's it say to do? So it says to enter your data. Where do we go to enter our data? What button am I looking for? Looking for stats. Stats. So you hit stats, edit. Number one is edit. And how do I clear out my lists? You have to scroll up on top of list 2, hit clear, and then come back down. Scroll over to list 1, go up on top where it says list 1, hit clear, and come back down again. Then your lists are clear. All right, we're ready to start entering our data. All right, now if I look at this, the previous example had dates, and when I had dates, I had to put 0 for 1997, 1 for 1998, and so on. I had to do that on this table. I had to do that on the first example as well, X and Y. Now look at this table. What do we think is going on with this table? Okay, so it's going up by 1 year. Anything else that you can see on this problem that stands out? Perfect. It says X is your album downloads, are these numbers. Y is the electronic tax turns. So you're not even using the dates this time. You have to be observant about what X and Y are. On the previous ones, they didn't say anything about X and Y. All they did was give dates and gave numbers. So we had to use the dates because we didn't have any other numbers to work with. Okay, start entering your data. X is 4.6, enter, and so on. Look back at the directions to see what would I do next. I have my data in. I have to figure out how do I continue on a regression. Step 1, notice that my steps are numbered like this. Step 1, step 2, and step 3. Zoom 9, now it zooms in on my stats. Go to y equals right here and clear out any functions that you have in their graph. Is there something written there? Yep. Okay, so we did step 1, enter data. Step 2, which was make a scatter plot. Fine. Now we need to find the best fit line for our data. How do I start to find the best fit line, if it's even a line, but it looks like it's tending that way. What'd you say? Stats. I go back into stats again. What am I looking for in stats? I don't see anything on here that says linear. You have to go over to calc. It says from the calc menu, and at the top is calculate, calc. I scroll over, and then number 4, linear regression. I'd like to help you store your equation today. Normally, don't do this, but this is what we've been doing. We're like, enter, enter, enter. We're skipping that part, enter. Going in here, and we're looking for A, B, and R, right? We're writing our own equations with A and B. And then we went to y equals, and we put our equation in there. I want the calculator to do that part for me. I don't want to keep having to write the equation myself. So I go to stats, calculate, linear regression. I need to stop right here where it says store regression equation. I want to store that equation. So I hit enter, 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 and now it's blinking next to store regression equation. After this point, we're looking for the y equals. We're looking for the variable y, because when I go in there, it says y equals. I'm looking for y. Right here next to it is vars for variable. So I hit vars for variable, variable. I'm looking for the y variable at the top. Y variable. You need to scroll over to y variable. There's your y variable at the top. So use your arrow key and go over. You're only working on functions. You're not going to get to parametric or polar until pre-calculus next year. So it's always a function all year long. Enter. There's all of your y1s, y2, y3 that are listed in y equals. I can do this and have a lot of different equations in there. I'm just looking for y1. So enter. Now what does it say? It says store regression equation. Where? Store my equation in y1. So I don't have to manually keep punching that in all the time. enter, and calculate. I would still write down A, B, and R just in case something happens. So here we are next to this example over here. We're going to write down what A equals 0.49. B equals 59.85, and R equals 0.99. I have all my data. Because you're still going to have to answer the question on the paper and write an equation by hand. You're still going to have to do that. So go ahead and write your equation on your paper. The question is always going to ask you about the equation, and they're going to always ask about the correlation coefficient. So there's my equation. There's the correlation coefficient, because I'm going to still have to always do that on paper. Hit graph, and you'll see everything's there. Graph is in the top right-hand corner. Go to my graph. There's my stats, and there's the best fit line. If I go to y equals, I can see that that number is in there, and it will take as many decimal places as the calculator you have it programmed to give. So there is 0.49, and if I keep going over, I'll see the x after probably about 10 decimal places. There's the x plus the next number. So it's all stored in there for you. If you can't remember how to do it, you just take your A, B down and write your own equation to put it in there. But you should always practice storing that equation. It's more accurate. Does it ask us any question? Okay, looking at the correlation, what would you say, what is correlation? We've talked a little bit about it. What is correlation? On a scale of -1 to 1. Scale of -1 to 1 with a 0 in there. For 1, that is a strong positive correlation. The closer I am to 1, that would be a strong positive correlation. A -1 means a strong negative correlation. -1 would be a strong negative correlation. When you are at 0, that's no correlation. That would be no correlation at all. So if we look at our data, the correlation is 0.99. How would you describe that correlation? So a positive correlation. What's a positive correlation? Album downloads are strongly related to electronic tax returns. So it'd be like when a person gets their money back from their taxes, they're downloading music. That's a strong correlation. They're going to download more music when they have their tax returns, when they have that money. For you virtual people right now, there's the linear regressions homework. We had problems 1 through 3 to do. And I'm assigning the last 2, and I want to check Google Classroom to see if I have a place for that. Linear regressions. Due October 20th. So let me just tell you something. I don't agree with this, especially in the math class, but you know me, I follow the rules all the time. They're saying that if I teach something today, I have to give you a week to get it done. Okay, fine. I don't need to, this linear regression homework, it doesn't hinge on anything. But your notes, if you wait a week to put notes in, you're always going to be behind all the time because we're always in our notes. If there's one thing that you should consistently always do is make sure that your notes are up to date. Make sure the ones are taped in there that you need for the future. Homework, that's not hinged on anything happening in the classroom, so fine. Do it a week later. I personally would not. I would get it done as soon as possible and have it done. But the school is saying that you guys need a week to do assignments. So if you're waiting a week to put your notes in, I just want to let you know that we're using them next period, the next class period, and if they're not in, you're going to find yourself snowballing. This is the last part of linear functions. We've done graphing, writing equations, parallel perpendicular lines, linear regressions, and now we're writing equations from a picture, and this is going to be the last linear functions, and we'll be moving on to quadratics. Okay, this is it. This is everything for linear functions. There's nothing else out there for linear functions that you guys have not seen.